Our presentation is about the food blog that the teacher, Oili, she started with a group of these special needs students, the same group that Lina was talking about yesterday, with whom they were doing this international project. So Oili is the class teacher of this group, and they started last year. And for Oili, it was the first experience to be a class teacher of special needs students. She has been teaching them in some lessons sometimes, but she has never been a class teacher for them. And these special needs students who are going to be cook's assistants, they actually they don't learn too much more about, they don't have too many different kind of subjects. So almost everything is about cooking. So it means that Aili is with them absolutely all the time. She stays with them every day. And as it was the first experience for her, she wanted to, at first she thought that she's going to do it for herself, to leave something behind where she can look what they had been doing and so on. And so she started the food blog. So they started blogging in the lessons. So at first, yes, as I told, she said that she thought that maybe it is for herself to look back what kind of dishes they have done and what kind of different skills they have gained. But somehow it grew and grew, and at the moment it is a food blog which they are actually doing for the second year of their studies. So the group is now doing their second year. Okay, so what were these difficulties? As Lina told you yesterday, they are all quite acquainted how to post online or how to post to Instagram or to Facebook, but they just actually are not so acquainted why to post. And so for them, at first, they thought that this blog is something that they are not interested in. They even told her that you can do it. We are not going to watch it. We are not interested. Sometimes, of course, they at first, Aili started to make all the posts. If they had a lesson, then after that, they took pictures. At first, she took pictures. The students were not interested. It was not their world. They were used, but the classroom is just like teacher is talking and no computers. Computers were just like for Facebook or for Instagram or for something fun. It wasn't a part of the studies. But she kept going, and every time when they finished something, she took pictures and she posted and showed them. And how did she get them into it? So at first, when they made a post at the end of the lesson, when they started the next lesson, then every time she opened it and they went back and had a look, what did they do during the last lesson? And so as we students need more support, so it was a good way for them to go through and see the pictures and remind, and they started to talk about it, but in the last lesson we did this and that, and how did you feel about it, because there was something that memorized it to them. Usually they have their lessons all through the day. So they start in the morning, and at first they are talking how to do this and all this theory part, and then they are going to do 2 dishes during one big lesson, which is almost the whole day. And the students all got the address of the blog, and I told them that you can show it to your parents at home. Then your parents can see what you are doing, and some of them started to do this, and probably their parents were quite proud of this, that their students are able to, that their children are able to cook like this, and so they got more interested, and they already started to say that, oh, you have to take the pictures. Now I'm ready, and let's take the pictures, and the first fears of the students were, if we are going to post it online, can everybody see it? But It's not like this. It's not a public. So everybody who wants to see it must have an address. And so it is one of these fears of these special needs students that they don't want to let them to be on the picture. So usually they don't want to be photographed. Very few of them want to be photographed because they are somehow, they are very shy, but I think it's a little bit more than just being shy. It's just maybe they don't want the others to see what they are doing. They are not confident, but step by step she started to build that confidence that have a look at these nice dishes that you did and you did it, and somehow the students got interested. So every time, so almost she said that in September they were just like, no, I'm never going to see it, I'm not interested. So somewhere in the middle of October last year, they already started to remind her that now it's time to take the pictures and now it's time to put them online. And for these special needs students, it's very important to have this routine in their days. So they are not very eager to have all kind of new things, or if the things come too suddenly. So it became a part of their daily routine that they are doing the dishes, and then they are taking the photos, then they are posting the photos, and the next lesson starts with watching the photos. So they cannot be too excited. That's why they need the routine, but they must know what is coming. So this is one part that the teachers who are teaching these special needs students have told me. So now they started to be interested whose food was photographed, and so they wanted to show it to their parents. And just to say what kind of food they are making, they are learning to make quite simple food in this during their studies. So they are going to be cooks' assistants, not cooks. So it means that they are not doing meat dishes and they are not doing fish dishes. They are doing simple kind of dishes, and like egg dishes and different salads. And on the second part of the school year, on the second half of the school year, they also started to do bakery. And then they started to do it with another teacher because she's not a bakery teacher. So the bakery teacher came and she didn't know that they were blogging. And Aili had other lessons this day, so she didn't join these lessons because we had another teacher for bakery. But the students took this over in January. So they already knew that they are doing nice things and they want to see them online, they want to show them. And so one of them took this responsibility to photograph all the dishes. And that's why they had all their bakery that they made, they also put it online. So the students made the photos, and Aili wrote the names of the food just to be sure that they are doing it right. So there were two students who were more interested to do it, so they were these photographs in this class. And the others who at first said that they are never going to do it or they are not interested, so they also started to look for it and remind the others that if somebody was absent, so they were like, what we are going to do, that this boy who took the photographs is absent today, so somebody else has to do it. So they already understood that this is a part of their studies. Okay, Aili started to feel that the whole group, somewhere in the middle of February or something like this, the whole group had taken the responsibility that this is a part of our cooking studies and this helps us and we like to do it. So I would like to talk about e-learning week in our school. So usually in February we have e-learning week, which means that the whole week the students are doing something individually. They are not at school and all the teachers have built up some tasks for them and they are online. And so we also added this special needs students and their tasks online, and Aili used this Padlet form to this, and she put up that task. They are not very good at reading the task, so it has to be quite simple and everything has to be pointed out. And so there is a task. You can see the first, this is the task, and there are the different kind of but the students did. Every student had to post it to their Padlet. So and what did they have to do? Mida nad pidid tegema täpselt?
Kodus küpsetama seda, mida nad on kodus teinud ja tegema.
Yeah, so they had to bake something, and they had to photograph all the ingredients that they used, and they had to photograph their process, and so they had to post it, and they had to also describe what they were doing, and they had to post it online. So till this time everybody was able to do it online. Before that, when they started, for them just this online world was maybe reading some interesting news or watching pictures or posting on Facebook, I am doing this or I am doing that. They were absolutely not able to blog, or they just didn't know anything about this. And so after this e-learning week, we saw that the students had made a huge step, and they wanted to do it. So what one?
Teine aasta.
Kas see tuli teisel aastal?
Ei, see on esimene.
Okay, to support what they had been learning, they used different kind of games as well, online games. And they used such kind of an environment which is called word wall. I don't know if some of you know. Yes? So maybe you can show something. Kas sa saad midagi?
We did it also with you in Spain when we had our workshop.
And Aili used it to, if they had learned some kind of a topic, so in the next lesson they just played a game which was about the topic. So, and they, if you know this game, then you know. So there was a question, and so they had to pick the right answer about it. This is just where you can find the most amount of facts, and you have to find the right answer, and they could see the results. So the students actually started to like this game. So this is a good thing to do in other lessons as well, but for the special needs students, it was, again, they saw that the phones, and they are not just for Facebook and not for personal things only, or not for news only, but it is something that you can use in the classroom. And afterwards, they started to take it as a nice competition, and they wanted to be good at it, and they started to learn more. Okay, so that was the first year. So the second year, this year in September, I said that they were. Now they knew that this is their blog, they were proud of it, and they started to be more independent, and maybe they were not so much afraid to be on the pictures on their own. Kas te restoranis käisite esimesel aastal, teisel aastal?
Mõlemal.
So the first time, so one part of this studies with the students is also, as they are going to be cook's assistants, so they visit the restaurants as well. So, and for lots of students, it's the first experience in their life to go out to eat in such kind of a smart place or a nice place, because lots of them come from the countryside and they have big families, and this is not so common. It is not so common in Estonian families to go out to eat, to have a Sunday lunch somewhere out. So people do it at home. And for the students, it was just like something very new, and they didn't feel confident about it at all. And at first, when they were doing pictures together, so a lot of them hid themselves, so that they were just like this. They didn't want to be on the picture. They just hid their face. But on the second year already, Oili says that they were not afraid anymore and they wanted to be on the picture. They wanted to find themselves on the picture. And this year, the students are doing the photos already. So this is not her, because at first she started, now the students are doing the photos. And Oili writes only what kind of things they have done during the month. So the students can go back and have a look what they have done during the month. And I wanted to, so besides cooking, they are also studying a little bit of economy and such kind of, maybe economy is too much to say, but things that they need to get on in the real life. So they are learning how to make CVs, they are learning how to do the cover letter if they want to apply somewhere. And as the students had already got so much used to the blog and everybody knew the address and they used it in real life. So I thought that it's a good way to add the other subject into the same blog. So everything is on the same place, and so they know that this is their learning environment. If they want to go back or they want to repeat some tasks. And also she linked the games here, some of the games here. So, so the students could go there and load down the CV or see what they have done together. And she also told them, which was a new thing for them, we have lots of computers in our school, and sometimes they are in different classes doing that, and you have to log into the computer if you're going to do your thing. So everybody has their name and one password how to log into the computers, but they didn't know that when they save something on the desktop, so they have to delete it. So they have also talked a lot about all kind of internet security. So how you have to delete your things if you save them somewhere, and how you have to protect your personal data and so on. So this year, when they went to the restaurant, Aili could say that the development had been huge if she compared it to the last year. So they already knew how to sit down and how to be there. They were not afraid, because the first time, the first year when they did it for the first time, she even didn't tell the students that they are going to sit around the table, because she was afraid that some of them will be absent on this day because it would be too much for them to go into public. So they are not used to it. But now they are. So I think that this international project has made them more confident, and also that they can show to the others what they have done, and they are not afraid, but they are like, maybe I don't succeed. I'm a person who never succeeds. This is something that they think sometimes. So what else? They also learned how, because in Estonia we have a lot of procedures that we can do online with our ID cards. We can sign the documents, for example, with ID cards online. So probably, I hope that you all do the same. But for the special needs students, it was very new, and they learned this as well. And then when they went to do the replacement in the companies, when they signed the agreements online this time, and it was the first time to do it actually on their own. So what kind of dishes they have done this year? So this year in October, it was a month where they learned to do soups, and then they are also doing some more bakery. And now they are going to do the placement in companies. So it's not very easy to find them the placement places, and the teachers have to help them to do it. But there are companies who take them, and some of them manage very well actually. So we have tried to make them more confident with very different kind of support in our school. And so they are going to do their placement now, and they are back at school in March again. And when they come back, from the placement, from the companies. So they had to prepare a PowerPoint presentation and talk about it in front of their group. So this is also not very easy for them because lots of them don't like to be public like this. So this is one type of the game. When they were learning different kind of spices, then there was a game where they had to match the picture and the name. There was teas and spices, yes. This is about teas. So they really like such kind of activities. And we also have 2 Russian-speaking boys in this group, which makes it a little bit more difficult. So they can understand Estonian, but they are not so good speakers. So besides all their autism and Asperger and other problems, so there are sometimes language problems as well. So. Midagi veel?
Ei, ma ei tea.
If you have some questions, then I can translate the questions. So at least we can say that now we have, it was the first time to use this supporting blog to teach the whole group, and I think that it has been a very good experience for her. She has learned a lot about the students and their behavior, and I think the students have learned a lot as well. So maybe this is not such a big thing with a normal group where there are normal students, because some of them are blogging anyway, but with the special needs students it was just we could see the development of their IT skills and of their communication skills, and not being so shy and so afraid to expose yourself in front of others. So do you have some questions? Okay, if you don't have questions, then we have a game for you, just to end up this presentation. Mis ma pean neile kõigepealt ütlema?
Telefonid välja ja otsingu ribasse.
So you have to find this gowordworld.com on your phones and enter this code. And then we try to do one game in English. It is the same game that the special needs students have done in Estonian, so we just translated one of their games. Okay, yeah, pass it. And as you could see, Airi was having a lesson at the same time when we are having our presentation. So these 5 students, these are our office work students.
Yeah, we already spoke about that.
Good. Four already. So you can see how many people come into the game. It's just like boo, like in a movie.
Ma ei saanud aru, mis sa rääkisid. Ju sa ikka rääkisid, märkmed ees.
gowordworld.com. What? Like your... Kas siin mingit limiiti ei ole palju?
Ma ei tea vähemalt, siin pole olnud.
14.
Orada yazan şey aynı.
Aha.
Ama arada
Is there anybody still joining? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes, you can wait.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Jerry is on board. So I think now 21 now. Is anybody missing? Keegi tuleb veel, ei. Ahah. Okay, so I think, aha, one more. Good.
nii, aga lähme siis.
So we will start now. Such kind of shooting.
jaa.
On the question. I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't agree.
Nobody, jah, ma ei
No.
tea.
What? Food. Oh yeah.
We did it. The same.
şurada enerji alması.
Per day for 1 day.
Get over here. Alright. Bir good scenario.
Enerji ihtiyacı neye dayanır? Ağırlığı.
Päris aeglaselt läheb.
Muidu palju mängijaid.
Alright.
Neile meeldib.
Getting hungry.
It means food in it.
Depends. If you run a lot now, I don't agree. I object. I feel bad. I feel bad. It's me.
This is the last question.
Sweet. Get out of here.
On the top, it means leaderboard. Let's have a look at the leaderboard. The
Nobody.
first place is nobody.
Kathy, 6, Doris, 7.
Okay, that's it. Ära lõpuni pane. Okay, so this was just a little funny thing.
I want to play again.
I don't like that game.
The next game is in Estonia if you want.
Play it on again.
Okay, so that's it.
So, but
I think not. What's the time? So I think our journalist is coming. Sa Kaire ei ole ukse taga.
Panen kinni kõik, jah?
Yeah, she's coming. Okay.
ahah. No nii. Oli või?
Minu meelest on see jube äge.
Noh, mäng läks, selle valati vist peale.
Selle valad tõesti peale.
Jaa. Nii, aitäh sulle. Ma läksin siis.
Aivan help.
Aga kas nüüd äkki see Türgi oma